Hello everyone. I am a tutor of Uplatz. This is ReactJS session part 10. To know more about us, please use this website address which I have given in my presentation. So let's see the agenda of our today's session. So today we are going to discuss about what is events in jQuery and what are the DOM manipulation, DOM, how to traverse a DOM, and then CSS manipulation. So let's see that. So in that, so few things we have discussed in the session 9. So this is the continuation of the session 9. Session 9, 10 and 11 would be like covering some of the jQuery concept, which is be helpful to implement the APIs to fetch data in React.js. So these three sessions are interrelated to each other with jQuery. So like event propagation, so which is like delegated events are only possible because of event propagation, which is called, often we will call it as event bubbling. So when the event is fired, it will bubble all the way to the document root. So they delegate the handling of event to non-changing ancestor element. So hence they are named as delegated events. So that is the reason. So in my example, so by clicking an element a link, so it will trigger event in these element. So this is the order it will click trigger. So if I'm just clicking a element, if I have a link, it will go to the li tag and then ul tag, then body and then html. So then again it will go to the document root. So solution. So knowing what event bubble does, so we can catch one of the wanted events which are propagating up through our HTML. So a good place for catching in this example is UL element, as element does it not be dynamic always. So that is the solution. So if we click on that A element, you will get a console. The jQuery binds the event function to the targeted DOM element. So the way this refers to the anchor and not to a list. Whatever you want to do when the list is get clicked. So that is the solution of this particular event bubbling. So in the above, we have UL, which is recipient of this particular event listener. So the first parameter click will define which event we are trying to detect. And the second parameter A is used to declare where the event needs to originate from of all child elements under this event listener UI. Lastly, the third parameter is a code that is run if second and parameter requirements are get fulfilled. So this is the event above will get triggered, basically first, second and third parameters. So in detail how it is working, I will show you. So when a user clicks a element, it the triggers click an event a element. So the events start bubbling up towards document root. So then event bubbles first to the li element and then to the ul element. So the event listener will run as a ul element has event listener attached. So the event listener first detects the triggering event. So the bubbling event is get clicked and the listener has clicked. It is a pass. So the listener checks, it will try to match the second parameter to catch each item in the particular bubble chain. So as the last item in the chain, it will matches with the filter and then it will make a passes to. So this is how this event bubbling and event listener for each element in the process of the parent, it will work. First it will bubble the event to the element and then to the UI, then it will make a event listener and where the event listener get attached, and then the event listener will first trigger the bubbling, which is the click event, and then it will make to pass. So and the next it will also try to matches with the second element item in the bubble chain as well as. So the third parameter is run using the match item it has. So if the function does not include a call to stop propagation, so the event will continue propagating towards a root document. So one thing you need to note, a non changing ancestor is not available. You should use a document. So that the habit of not using the body reasons, because the body has a bug to do with styling that can remind a mouse events do not bubble to it. And also the browser is always depends on that what is happening and when the calculated body height is 0. Example, when all child elements has absolute position. So this mouse events always bubble to that particular document exists to our script. So that what we can do, we can attach the delegated handlers to the document outside of the DOM. Once it get be ready handler, and then we can make that they can be certain, and then they will still work. So that is the main workflow of this procedure. Next is like attach and detach event handlers. So the jQuery has an API on. This way, the standard JavaScript event or custom event can be bound on currently selected jQuery element. So how like they are the custom events and they get selected to the particular event handler. There are some shortcuts as well as such as click, but on it will give you about more options in detail about that event handler. So if I have a HTML called button ID and I have a jQuery event such as like on click, if I click on that, I will get a console from my button called bar. So what I'm doing, just foo dot on click console dot this dot text, which means it is referring to the particular this event I'm just mentioning. So it is printing as bar as a event. So next is detach a event handler. So next we have a possibility to detach events from our query objects as well as. So what we can do, I have a HTML and I have a jQuery. So the same example which I will show you previously, I have a button ID hello. So in jQuery, if I click on the button, I will get this particular message. So when clicking the button, this will refers to the current jQuery object and it will remove all the event handlers from it. So that is basically a detached event handler is all about. You can also specify which event handler should be removed. So I have a jQuery on click. If I click on that, the particular event handler will get removed. So in this case, the mouse enter event will still function after clicking. So that is what actually this means. So next is switching specific events on and off via jQuery, which is like we have some named listeners. So sometimes you want to switch off all previously registered listener means how you can do. I'm just adding a normal click handler, which is like document dot on click function. And also I have some another click handler like document dot on click function. So first is like I'm just clicking one first document which will listen the previous jQuery specific event listener via this jQuery named listener, and second I have another click handler which is also listening to the another event handlers which is like. So now what I'm doing, I have just added everything. So now I am just removing all the register handlers. So in the removing, in the sense, I need to make that as document dot off click. What it will do, this method make all the listeners binded on the document in our plugin would be removed. So we want to detach all the listeners only by attaching this. To achieve this, we can bind a name listener as add name event listener. So document.on click my module function. It will get my document click, and another also I'm just adding a name event listener. Click dot my module. It will make my another document or event also to get clicked. So next is how to remove a named listener. So it is like document dot off. So this will ensure that any other click listener is not inadvertently modified. So original event, sometimes there will be properties that are not available in jQuery event. So to access the underlying properties used, we have event dot original event. So I have a get scroll direction. So document dot on wheel function, I have console dot log e dot original event. I'm just making that, returning the values between my 100 to 100 depending on the direction which we are get making a scroll. So that is the original event we will have. So events after repeating elements without using the IDs. So what will be the problem we will get here? So there is a series of repeating elements in page that you need to know is which one event occurred on to do something and which is the specific instance. So that is the problem we will get here. So the common solution is like it will give all common elements a common class. So next what we will do, we will apply a event listener to that particular class. So inside the event handlers, which is matching or selecting events that occurred, we can also traverse a outermost repeating container for that instance by starting this. So what we will do, we will find the good solution is like we can find within that container to isolate other elements to that particular specific instance which we have made. So that is the only solution for this type of problems. So it's just like one event occurred to do something with a specific instance. So we have a repeating elements in our page so that we can make a solution for that. So how? I have a HTML, which in that I have a class item wrapper. So that would be my div. Inside that I'm just wrappering person item, and then I have a delete button. So in my second item wrapper, I'm just wrappering my person, second person, and I am making a delete button. So in the jQuery, if I click on click with the delete, I'm just passing means what it will do, it will wrap everything inside to that, and then it will make a pass of a post URL item wrap, and then it will make a function response to item wrap for the remove, and then it will, I have written if it is fail means what I need to do. So or not deleted server. So these are the things I can make with the post URL. So how you can make the event loading? So if you want your script to wait until a certain source or resource gets loaded, such as image, PDF, or like that, we have some shortcuts like onload handler. So this is the image means. So jQuery, this is my image function dot load, and we can run the script. So to load that, so these are the events or which we can use. So next is like DOM manipulation. So how to create a DOM elements. So this particular jQuery function, they can use both select elements as well as also to create a new elements. So to select, just where this is my variable and this is I can select my jQuery elements. And optionally, I can also pass the second argument with the element attribute, this where my link. And just this is my first argument. Second argument is like I'm reference. I'm just passing to that. So what I can do. So basically, we have both elements to create. So and also you can optionally pass the second argument as we said the element attribute. So this is the first method and this is the second method. So optionally also you can use. So the first argument specifies the type of DOM elements that we want to create. And in that example anchor we can anything. In the list, the second argument would be like JavaScript object containing with a name value pass. So name and value between how it needs to get appear, appear between this angle brackets of a first argument, which is like a name colon value. So that would be like this. Sorry. So this is thing it has to get applied. So next is manipulating element classes. So assuming the page includes an HTML elements like, so I have a P class, I have a small paragraph. So this is the paragraph I have inside my P tag. What this jQuery provides the useful functions to manipulate DOM classes, most notably hash class, add class, remove class, and toggle class. So these functions directly modify the class attribute of the particular matched elements. So if we have dot, this is a paragraph, dot hash class, this is a paragraph, it get matched, so it is true. So I have a hash class, I have another paragraph, it is not matched, so I'm just getting false. Add a class to all links within the paragraph. So I have PA add class untrusted link in paragraph, which means I need to remove the class from a.trusted. So this is like remove class and add class. Toggle class, give an example markup. We can add a class with our first dot toggle classes. So this is how you can add. So small paragraph dot toggle classes. I have a pretty. So now what I will return is like a small paragraph dot class. It provides same effect with the less code as if dollar small paragraph dot hash class. It should be pretty. Remove class, I'm just removing that pretty, and in the small paragraph I'm just adding. So how to toggle two classes? So we have a property called toggle classes. So this small paragraph I'm just toggling with that pretty. Good. Boolean to add or remove classes is like you can just make the second parameter as a boolean, either true or false. So this small paragraph, you can have a toggle class. So functions of class toggle, we will see further to avoid an issue. So div.surface toggle class function. So if this parent water means I will return pet, else I will return dry. So this is like used in examples. So function to use examples is like string contains my string comma my substring. So I'm just returning my string dot index of substring is not equal to -1. So function is odd num means I can just return my num. Otherwise, we want to add a class to that. So that is the main thing. So examples is like use the element index to toggle classes odd or even. So this is my class. I'm just making a toggle class, index odd class. I'm just showing if odd of my index na, I will return wet, and else it will return as dry. So this most complex toggle class example is like given a simple grid markup, just like class grid. I have a row inside my div and again row and again row. So this is all, and I have a footer, but I'm a footer inside the div. So simple function for our examples is like is odd na, it will return like num percentage true. So function string contains, I am just passing a two parameter, my string comma my substring. So if I am ready to return my index not equal to -1 means where show class, we want to add the classes. So class element with grid or row classes. So that is what we can add to that to a simple function example. So div grid row, I'm just using a toggle function index old classes show this classes. If odd my index now, it will return odd. Else means what it will return? It will return even. Otherwise also it will return the old classes. If any problem now, you need to call the show classes if any confusion occurs. So this is all like simple JavaScript, but I am showing you just like how to use in jQuery. If row has grid footer classes means we can use remove the odd or even classes and keep the rest. So like a div grid row toggle class function, I'm just passing this parameters. So is footer if string contain old classes or grid footer means if this of footer, I'm just replacing that even to that old, and I will just add a toggle classes even, odd or should to be false, and then I'm just returning the old classes. So the classes that get returned or what is affected here is if an element does not have a grid footer, then you need to add a classes for even or odd, and then you can return the old class list. So if else, I'm just returning old classes means is removed, only the new class gets added. So thus the row with a grid footer class would have all classes removed and we have not written those old ones. So they would have been toggled, otherwise it will get removed. So div grid row, I'm just using the toggle classes functionality, where is footer string contains old classes. If not footer means is odd index, I will return the odd light, else I will return the even light, and then I will remove my old classes, or show classes. So next is like other API methods. So this jQuery offers a variety of methods that can be used for this particular DOM manipulation. So the first is like empty. So imagine the markup. So div id container, and we have some text within that. So the inner div would be like remote, that could be achieved by using content.html. Another handy function is like a closest function. So trid row 1. So the type would be button, and we have a class called delete. If you want to find the closest row to the button that was clicked with one of the cells you could do, you can do that with the help of the delete button. So click on delete, since there will be probably be multiple rows. So each with their own delete button, you can use this within that scope and then what is actually clicked. So if you wanted to get an ID of row containing a delete button that you click means you can also do something like that above I have mentioned delete click, so closest to the parent it will get removed. So delete dot click function, I'm just having a row closest tr, this is my id row attribute, it will get delete everything. So it is usually considered a good practice. Prefix variable contain jQuery objects with a dollar sign, and also it makes a clear variable it is. So an alternative to closest and the parent method is like I have a delete, it's a click option. So row, I have a parent and for ID, and I also have a row attribute. So and there is also a parent function as well as delete dot click function. I have a row this dot parent and row attribute with the ID. So parent only goes one level up of DOM tree, so it is be quick and flexible if we are changing the delete button to be contained in the span of an element. So next, what is like DOM traversing? So for that, we need to select children of the element. To select the children of element, you can use that children method. So class div parent, I have a headline of that. So how to change a color of all the children of the parent? So in the CSS, I have just made like 1 minute. Yeah. Uh, yeah. With the help of that, this is my children. This is my color. From color the color green, my children gets to change. So that is what you can mention. So only p means you need to mention children which has a p tag, it needs to change the color. So how to go to the next element? So for that we have a method called next. So if you are standing on the element, if you want to go to the next element Paul, then you need to use a next method that will allow you to go. So this is my class Anna dot next CSS color green. Now which means the Paul will get as a green text. So this is the next method. So basically this method takes an optional selector argument which can be used if a next element must be a certain kind of element. So the next element li Paul has now a green text. So this is the li, it will have a green text. If a next element not a type of selector, then you can return empty set is written with the with the does not no modifications done. So nothing will be done in this particular case. So this is an Anna dot next mark CSS color. So how to go to previous element? You can do with the help of that dot previous method. So this is my li and have a class Anna Paul. If you are standing on the Anna element, if you want to go to the previous element mark means it will make dot previous method allowed to do. So now the mark will now have a green text. So it will take optional selector argument which is used with the previous element must be the certain kind of that particular element. So the previous element is a li, mark has now a green text. So with the help of this previous, that particular li now makes the color as green. So if it is does not have any of the type selector means empty, you can return no modification will done based on the type selector. And previous element is not dot Paul, nothing will done in that particular case. Same as next method. So this is like how to filter a selection. So we have a filtered method that you can called a selection, and you can return a new selection. So if a filter matches the element that is added to the return selection, otherwise it will get ignored. If no element is matched, means the empty selection will be always returned. So HTML, this is what we are using, ULLI 10123. So in the selectors, filtering using this one of a simpler way is a filter section. So li dot filter even, we have a CSS color even elements, you will get green. And in the filter method, you have a one CSS font weight bold. It will make a text to the bold. So that is the selector we have in this section. So next would be function. So filtering a section using a function is useful. It is not possible to use a selectors. So function is called for each element in the section. If it returns a true value, then element would be added to the return section. Such as like var section, we have li filter index comma element. So this index is the position of the element, and element will have some things like it is returning dot hash class 2. So selection dot css color comma green means it will select dot 2 will be colored in that particular green. So next element is like you can filter by DOM elements. If a DOM elements are in the section, then they will be included in the particular return section. So var3 document dot get by elements by class name is 3. So I have a list filter 3 inside dot css color green. So I have passed the element inside that. So now inside my selection, you can also filter a selection by with the help of the other selection. So if the element is in both the section, then it will be included in the returned selection. So elements dot one dot three, in the child I'm just filtering elements dot css color green. I'm just making the find method. What this find method will do allows us to search throughout the distance of these elements in the DOM tree, and then it will construct a new jQuery object from matching those particular elements. So next would be HTML. We have a class parent and children, class child, the first. Second would be we will have a class children and name would be second. So this is the thing. So in jQuery, parent.find children is ui.css. Now we are iterating over a list of jQuery elements. How we can do that? So we need to consider this DOM structures. This is a container. I have a class red1, red2, red3. So inside that 3 container. So to print a text present in all the div of class red. So this is my element class red. So I'm just using a for each function key comma value. If dollar dot element dot text, I will just store the text value dot text of, I will show with the help of this. I'm just consoling. So key is the index of the div element we are currently iterating. EL is the HTML element, so that we can create a jQuery of using dollar or jQuery like this. After that, we will have all the jQuery method on the object like classes or hide. In that particular example, we just pull the text of that object. How to select a siblings? So to select a sibling of an item, you can use the siblings method. So the typical example is like where you want to modify the sibling of an item in the menu. just like UL class menu. I have li class selected home blog about. So when a user clicks on the menu item selected, class should be added to the clicked event and then it needs to get removed from its siblings. Menu, this is our class on click li function. What I'm doing, I'm just adding a class to particular this element getting selected, and for remove class I'm just making a siblings to get removed. So this method takes an optional second selector as an argument where we want to, if you narrow down the kind of siblings we can select. So this dot siblings li remove class will now get selected. So next is like closest method. It will return the first element that matches the selected and then it will traverse the DOM tree. So in HTML, I have a div ABC XYZ. I'm just closing. I have an origin, the hello. So jQuery, I have a target origin dot closest true. So I'm just consoling target dot attribute of ID. So I will get as a console. So in the second target also I have origin closest P element to my target. I'm just closing that target to dot attribute dot P. So it will now closest row it will I will get as ABC and my origin would be like I will print the origin. So you can see here closest row is ABC and the P element ID that would be origin. So first method it will return the first element from the matched set. So div class first example. So this is like I have n number of paragraph. So with the jQuery, div p is my first paragraph. I'm just consoling first paragraph dot text, which means I will get the text. So this is a paragraph in the div. I will get like that as a console. So that is what I have in first line, right? Yeah. Next would be CSS manipulation, which is like getters and setters. So CSS also have a getter function applied to every DOM like this. So in order to render within px, you can make 150 px as a string. If you require true integer means you need to refer to with method. So body.css with what this line actually means. So this will return the computed width of the specified element and each CSS property you provide in the parenthesis will yield the value of those particular property for the selector DOM if you click for the CSS attribute. And if there does not exist mean then you will get as undefined as response. So you can call all the CSS getters with the array of attributes. I have body.css animation width. So this will return an object of all the attribute with their particular values. So I have object animation. So the help of CSS setters, I have a setter method that is applied to every DOM element on my particular page. So selectors.css, it will set a width of a selector to 500 pixel and then it will return a jQuery object so that you can explore more on that. So methods to the specified selector, the CSS setter can be used passing an object of CSS properties and values like. So body.css have a height, width, padding and padding bottom. All the changes of the setter mode are appended to the DOM element style property and thus it is affecting the element style which is already defined somewhere else in the particular style. So increment or decrement the numeric properties. So numeric CSS properties can be incremented and add decremented with plus equal to and minus equal to syntax respectively. So dot CSS method, what it will do, it will increment using plus equal to syntax. You can specify unit to the increment by target element dot css with this like plus equal to 100 px. Target element should be 100 plus equal to 30 px. So decrementing is done by using minus equal to syntax. So to set a cs property, setting one style. Target element is .css color. Setting multiple styles at the same time, we can make the target element .css color should be like this is the div ID we are getting. So font size and color. How to get CSS property? That you can use .css property name method. So this is our property name method. With the help of that, you can get. So if it is color, what is the color for that particular element we have got? So like that you can get with the help of this property name. So this is a summary of today's session. We have discussed about events, DOM manipulation, DOM traversing, and CSS manipulation. So I'm just closing the theory part. So quickly I will share my screen for the practical demo. Okay. Okay. So we'll quickly start off with practical demo. Yeah. So is like for control. Yeah, this is for control that we have already seen. So how to iterate a constant? This we have seen in a previous session. So let's see. Welcome. Three. Just wanted to open this. Yeah. Just wanted to change index of JS as well as I don't want this component. I don't want this. Okay. This is MongoDB. Yeah, this is where we can run our code. Yes. Yarn. Start. Just compiling. So let's see if we have any error or warnings. So it is got. So we can type as HTTP. So that is what we actually need. So hopefully it should run. It has not called the server, right? It is still in compilation. It has not built. It's giving time for that. Yeah, starting the development server. So if it is error means it will show in this command prompt, or if it is any printing error now, your web page will not get displayed with a particular whatever answer you expected. You need to inspect that, which I have already told you, right? You need to press F12, or else you can right click. You will get inspect. In that you can see your console warnings or error, whatever it is. So based on that you can debug, and you need to build, and again you need to run. So it is automatically calling. Let's see, it is started. So it is searching for if it is any something warning, or for that other things to happen. So in the meanwhile we can see the next example which we have. So yeah, so this is like on a browser itself we can run this. Yeah, 1 minute. So in desktop I have something, I have for HTML documents. So that is next would be like we can run on HTML file itself. That is more than enough. 1 minute. Router is not defined in index.js. Okay, let's see what is the error is happening. 1 minute. Yeah. So what is just HTML? This is for React. This is a practical demo. So let's open any one of the file. So inside this, just remove this. Just add these things inside that. So within the script tag, add this Jquery calling. Okay. So now we can run that. 49. Open with Chrome. So you can see like mango book, everything it has displayed in list form. So that is like in the list, it is iterating with this dot text with the help of that particular compound, and then it is getting iterated. So next is like we have a delete button, and then we have some jQuery. Yeah, let's see it is running. So I'll just copy my HTML part, paste it here. Okay. So now I'll go with jQuery function which they have written. Inside the script, I'm just placing. Okay. So if there is anything, it will delete. If there is anything, it will get delete. So these things is like you need to give a backend functionality. I have a delete. So if button dot this to travel anything is there in that item, it will get delete. So you need to pass. I have a data dot item inside that. You need to give some live URL, and then you can test beyond that. If you click on the button, you event needs to get trigger, and then it will delete that. So next is like I have 3 elements inside my container. So inside that element, what I need to do, I need to print something for my okay. So now just run this. Yeah, I'm just making to print inside the map. I'm just iterating these 3 div elements with the help of this jQuery. Next, now then with that, yeah, inside that I have a jQuery. So in order to find the closest div, so that we have already seen today, right? So this is our origin. With the help of this ID origin, it is finding the closest, and then also it is making to try find the origin. So p and yeah, hello. That is the origin of that particular attribute we have got. So next to be like how to get the first element in the div. So which means this is the first, this is second, this is third, fourth. So in order to print the first element, how you can put in jQuery. So if you run this, you will get the first element. This is the first element. So my example, I have iterated everything. If you want one, you can also do that. Yeah, this is all about a practical demo of today's session. So if you have any queries, please write to info@uplatz.com. So see you all on my next session. Thank